Well, happy Sunday. It is October the 13th, 2019, journal number 184, T+194. It seems like there's an epidemic of people suffering from FOMO, fear of missing out. It's an odd kind of a phenomenon. Uh, I'm not sure that I truly understand it. Although I'm willing to bet that I understand it better than most people do because there's an awful lot of things on the list of things that I can't do. So, in essence, I should have a better understanding of FOMO or fear of missing out than most people because there's a lot of things that I'm being forced to miss out on, at least for the time being. Um, Short time falls under the category of um, short-term pain for long-term gain. And it's a sacrifice, obviously, I'm willing to make. So I'm not, and it's not that I'm whining about it. It's just that I'm trying to understand what it's all about. Um, Especially because that's a luxury I don't have. I mean, uh, while the list of things that Leslie and I are able to do increases ever so slowly as time goes on, and excuse me, as I'll get my immunizations and inoculations, I'll have more freedom. But certainly since the transplant up to the present, which is close to 200 days now, uh, more than half a year, uh, there are still plenty of things that we can't do and things that we choose not to do. And by not doing them, obviously, we're missing out on a lot of other opportunities. We've got to be very careful about where we go and perhaps more importantly, where we don't go. We can't go places where there are large groups of people packed together in small areas. If we're going to go to the mall, we need to go first thing in the morning when they first open, and there's very few people there, especially now during flu season. The joy for the present is the fact that we can go out to certain restaurants and we can order, or I can order, certain kinds of fresh foods, well cooked meats, uh, but I still can't have, I still can't go to a deli and order a corned beef sandwich because the meat's out waiting to be sliced, or the salads are out being ready to be put together. I can't go someplace and have a salad unless it's an aerated place and the salads are prepared very carefully. So there's lots of things on my lists of things that I can't do or things that I can't have or places I can't go. Um, so if anybody would be justified in having this feeling, this fear of missing out, I guess it would be me, but I don't. And that's what's strange about the whole thing. That's the thing that gives me pause for concern and consideration and wonder and curiosity. I don't really feel like I'm missing out, perhaps because I know um, that there aren't a lot of choices involved in that. But the thing that fascinated me while we were out in Azusa, while we were living close to the hospital for that 100 days, was that there were people there that had the same list of concerns, same list of caveats, the same list of things that they couldn't do or places they couldn't go that didn't pay any attention to that list. There were people that were living in Azusa to be close to the hospital that still went home to wherever they lived on the weekends. And you should be aware of the fact that there was about a 60-mile radius around the hospital that was meant for people to stay close by or to live by if you were past that 60-mile outside that 60-mile radius, they didn't want you driving in because it would take too long to get there. Um, it always amazed me that people would be willing to do that, and not so much because of the drive or the danger involved in the drive. I mean, things can go bad very quickly and can go wrong very quickly. And I learned a long time ago that the only place I can go if I need medical help is the City of Hope, or pretty much the only place I can go is because it's the only place they understand what's wrong with me. And certainly now that I've had the transplant, one of the few places that understands what that's all about. Um, but that didn't stop people from doing it. Didn't stop people that we talked to from letting us know about which restaurants they went to, some of which were specifically um, prohibited uh, or at least cautioned against. I don't have a great fear of missing out because I know that this is temporary, or at least I believe it's temporary. And I know that sooner or later I'll reintegrate myself back into the world as I used to know it. And I don't have a problem with that. But for the time being, it's hard to feel like you're missing out on something when every time somebody sneezes around you or coughs around you, um, causes a moment of abject terror, recognizing the fact that if they're sick, if they have the flu, if they have some kind of a bacterial infection, I have no immune system. So I'm really at risk in situations like that. And I think that forces you to go from a fear of missing out to a general to an acceptance, a state of acceptance and gratitude, realizing that this is only temporary, and being grateful that this is something that you get to whine about because you're still here. You know, my attitude, quite simply, about that is that that if you're here to whine and complain about something, you're still here, and it didn't have to be that way. So this idea of a fear of missing out, I'm not sure why other people uh, have such a problem with it. There's one of my grandmother's favorite sayings basically translates uh, to with one backside, with one rear end, you can't dance at everybody's party, meaning that, you can't be everywhere. So pick the places that you can be, not that you want to be necessarily, but that you're able to be carefully, and be grateful for the fact that you're able to be there. And that's basically what I think about when I think about this whole idea of being anxious or upset or frustrated, because while you're here, you're thinking about being there, and while you're doing this, you're thinking about doing that. And aside from the fact that it's terribly frustrating, I think it's debilitating, and it takes energy away from you, and I don't think it's healthy. So do yourself a favor. Think carefully about the choices you have. Make those choices intelligently. Once you've made them, don't look back. Um, it's not healthy. And this business about FOMO, forget about it. Just forget about it. Make where you are and what you're doing and the people with whom you're doing it your focus, and you won't feel like you're missing anything. And just so you'll know, when you can't see your grandkids for 6 months or something like that, that's missing out. And when you can see them again, even if it's on a limited basis, even if it's at the beginning of flu season, even if they're in preschool, every second you get to spend with the people that you care about, whether it's friends or family or grandkids or your kids or family, the friends that you choose, um, the family that you choose to be with, not the biological family that you were born into. Those are moments of joy that you should treasure and reflect upon and be grateful for. So stay well, take care. Hope you're having a great weekend. I am. Bye bye.